Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. February is almost over, so it's time for me to have a look ahead to March and see what I'm going to be reading. So this TBR/MBR is going to be a little bit different for two kind of reasons, I guess. One, because I don't actually have a physical copy for any of the titles on this list. They are all going to be ebooks or audiobooks, so that's a little bit strange. I normally have something to hold up and show you, but it's just going to be pictures on the screen for this one. The other reason is I can't really go into too much depth with a lot of the titles on here because I do have a few sequels and I don't want to talk about kind of what they're about and potentially spoil book one for people who haven't read them. So I'm going to split these up into some little categories and take a look at them that way, and we're going to start off with some ARCs or advanced review copies. Now some of these are definitely in the MBR but might be red pile. I've got one which is a definite for March because it comes out I think on the 18th I want to say. Another one which is definite if I receive it because it's potentially going to be coming out towards the end of March, and it's one of my most anticipated titles, so I'm leaving room for that one if it does come through in March. And then the other two, if I get round to them, I'm going to be looking at these as well because they are both April reads, so I am okay to be leaving them a little bit longer before I get to them. So first of all, the one that I'm definitely planning in for March is Antimatter Blues, which is by Edward Ashton, and this is a follow-up to Mickey 7, a sci-fi tale about a sort of regenerated person, an expendable being, and I really enjoyed book one when I read it. It was just a nice, quite light-hearted, fast-paced read. I really like the cover of this one. It's a slightly different style, but you can definitely see that it follows on from Mickey 7, and the story follows on as well, which, as I've just said, I'm not going to go into what it's about because it does, even in the synopsis, give some real spoilers for book one in this series. So I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy this one. I'm hoping that it's going to be much the same in terms of the humour and the fast flow of the story, and I'll be finding out early on in March. The title that I'm leaving room for if it does come through to me in March, and it might be late in March, so it'll probably, if I do get it in that month, carry over to April, is book two in the Dragon Spirits by L.L. McRae. This one is The Shadowgate. Now, I don't actually know anything about the story of this. I've not read a synopsis for it. I know that I really liked The Iron Crown and the Citrine Key as well, the novella that came as kind of a prequel to the series. So I'm hoping that I'm going to have a good time with this one as well. I know that I'm going to dive straight into it as soon as I can upon receiving it because I had such a good time with The Iron Crown, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into this unique, really exciting and vibrant world and the characters that I really enjoyed in book one. So that one's going to be one of my early highlights of 2023, and I'm really hoping that when I read it, it lives up to my expectation as well. The other two ARCs I've got on my Kindle, which are released in April, so if I get to them, as I say, I'll look at factoring them into my March reading. If not, I'll leave them to April. We've got The Warden by Daniel M. Ford. This one is the first book in a series. I think it's a series anyway, not a standalone. And because of that, I can read out the synopsis. But I really love the cover of this one. It was one of the first things that drew me to it. And I'm looking forward to it because it does sound like a good book as well. The synopsis says there was a plan. She had the money, the connections, even the brains. It was simple. Become one of the only female necromancers. Pass as many certifications as she could. Get a post near the capital. Then profit. The funny thing about plans is that they are seldom under your control. Now A-list, daughter of a noble house and trained magister of the Lyceum, finds herself in the far-removed village of Lone Pine, mending fences and delivering baby goats, serving people who want nothing to do with her. But not all is well in Lone Pine, and as the villagers A-list is reluctantly getting to know start to behave strangely, A-list begins to suspect there is far greater need for a warden of her talents than she previously thought. Old magics are restless, and an insignificant village on the furthest border of the kingdom might hold secrets far beyond what anyone expected. A-list might be the only person standing between one of the greatest evils ever known and the rest of the free world. So that does sound pretty cool. It says at the top here, for fans who have always wanted their Twin Peaks to have some wizards. I've never actually seen Twin Peaks, but I do hear a fair bit about it. I'm looking forward to the book regardless, because obviously there's no prerequisite to have seen Twin Peaks, it's just a comparison that's been made, but I'll be finding out before too long what this book's all about. And then the second one, which comes out a little bit later, this one is the 27th of April, is Night Angel Nemesis by Brent Weeks. This is a long-awaited return to the Night Angel world as book 4 in that series, and it tells the story of Master Assassin Kyler, who embarks on a new adventure as High King Logan Gaia calls on him to save his kingdom in the hope of peace. After the war that cost him so much, Kyler Stern is broken and alone. He's determined not to kill again, but an impending amnesty will pardon the one murderer he can't let walk free. He promises himself this is the last time, one last hit to tie up the loose ends of his old, lost life. But Kyler's best and maybe only friend, the High King Logan Gaia, needs him. To protect a fragile peace, Logan's new kingdom and the king's twin sons, he needs Kyler to secure a powerful magical artifact that was unearthed during the war. With rumours that a Kakari may be found, adversaries both old and new are on the hunt, and if Kyler has learned anything, it's that ancient magics are better left in the hands of those he can trust. If he does the job right, he won't need to kill at all. This isn't an assassination, it's a heist. But some jobs are far too hard for an easy conscience, and some enemies are so powerful, the only answer lies in the shadows. So it's been a long time since I read The Night Angel, what was a trilogy, but I did have a pretty good time with them. I do like the kind of in the shadows, not necessarily the stereotypical hooded and cloaked assassins, but I do like the overall storytelling that I had in this particular series, and I do also like a nice heist story, so interested to see which way that goes, because it does obviously say it's not an assassination, it is a heist, but there is going to be a mixture of both, I'm sure. So looking forward to finding out either way, and I'll do so potentially in April, but maybe in March. Okay, so then I've got a buddy read, and I'm continuing my journey through The Expanse with my friend Nina. So we're on to book 3. We did Caliban's War in February, so March we've set aside the audiobook of book 3 in The Expanse, which is Abaddon's Gate. And I don't actually know what happens in this one. I don't know how it sort of ties in with the TV show, which I have watched and really enjoyed, but I'm sure, as happened with Caliban's War, things will start to come back to me as I'm listening to it, and I'm sure I'll have a good time with it regardless, because as I say, I've really enjoyed the show. I've really enjoyed the 2 books in this series that I've read so far, so I'm fully expecting that to continue. And then because my TBR has slightly started to become my own again, with a massive arcs that I did have in January and continuing into February, I'm getting back into the SPFBO trail, because I still have 6, I think it is, finalists of SPFBO 8 to read for Cassidy's alternative SPFBO final. So I'm going to try and get through 2 or 3 of these in March, and I'm picking the shorter ones that I've got left on my list, as well as one which I do have as an audio option. So that one is Miss Percy's Pocket Guide by Quenby Olson. It's one of the slightly longer, I think, of the books that I've got remaining, but because it's available on audio, that will definitely help out, because I can listen to that for longer during the day than I can physically read. The other 2 that I'm probably going to try for, as I say, are 2 of the shorter ones out of the 6 that I've got remaining. So we've got Small Miracles by Olivia Atwater and Mysterious Ways by Abby Evans. And I have to say that the finalists, certainly the finalists that I've got left remaining, there's not really a lot of them that really speak out to me in terms of what type of book they are and what my tastes are like. So I'm saving the Umbral Storm, I think, until last, because that's quite frankly the only one of them that I've got left that really kind of speaks to me and might hopefully be a good fit for my taste. So to say that I'm not exactly looking forward to going through the remaining finalists, other than hopefully the Umbral Storm, is a bit of an understatement. I do have a bit of trepidation, especially with 1 or 2 of the titles, and I would say Small Miracles is definitely one of those. It's not something that I would normally read, but I've committed to reading all of the finalists, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to give them all a fair shot, and we'll see how they go. So hopefully get through 3 of those in March, and then that'll just leave 3 of them for finishing off in April. And then that leaves me with one other thing that I've got for my TBR/MBR to look for March, and that's my old TBR jar. So I've given these a bit of a stir. I've got quite a few in there and they keep getting tangled up with each other. Probably would like or appreciate quite a short one, but we'll see what we have. And I've not taken that one out because that is Caliban's War, which I just read or listened to last month. So let's try that again. And see if this one will help me out. It's the Mortal Blade. So that one is up here, if I can get that one. So I do now have a physical copy to show off, but the Mortal Blade by Christopher Mitchell. So this was one of the finalists of SPFBO 7. And when I read the first chapter of each of the SPFBO 7 finalists, this was actually my favourite first chapter, if I remember rightly. So it's a bit longer than I'd maybe have been wanting. Let's have a look what we've got here. Just over 400 pages, so it's not actually as bad as it looks, but I have been looking forward to this one for a little while, and we'll see how it goes in March, I guess. So that's what March is looking like for me anyway. Hopefully I'll be able to get to all of these. The ARCs and the SPFBO finalists have taken up a big chunk of my early reading in 2023, so it doesn't give me a lot of leeway really if I want to cover off everything that I've aimed for, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the titles I'm planning in for March, and also what you're looking forward to reading as well. I'll hopefully catch you in the next video sometime soon, but until then, as always, take care of yourselves, read some good books. Bye for now.